What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about some tips and tricks to help prolong your transmission's lifespan. Now sometimes I've seen transmissions last longer without doing any of this stuff, but these are things that help your transmission last as long as possible. Now before I get into it, let me just say some of these things are my own opinion, things that I just do with my vehicles that I feel help the transmission last longer. Some of these as well, I've either done my research, looked it up, talked to professionals out there who have seen transmissions last longer because of regular maintenance. Now the first thing we're going to talk about is your transmission fluid. If you got an F-150 EcoBoost, which most of you guys watching my video do, this is your transmission's dipstick right here. You always want to check your fluid, especially if you are already reaching 30,000, 60,000 miles. Every 30,000 is the suggested service time interval for your vehicle's transmission fluid to be flushed and the filter to be changed. That will help prolong your transmission's life. Now another helpful one that you'll probably hear a lot from mechanics and others that I tend to try to do myself is when you're leaving, when you just start your vehicle in the morning and you're getting in a hurry to leave for work or leave for wherever, or if it's the middle of the day, whatever, take it easy for the first couple minutes when you're driving. I always try taking the long way out of my neighborhood to give the truck time to warm up, to get all the lubricants moving, especially in the transmission, because you don't want to go hard on it right away because you're going to strain it with little oil throughout everything, because right at the beginning of the day the oil is at the bottom of the pan. It's not everywhere that it needs to be, so you give it time to, you know, get everywhere. Now these next ones are kind of things that I follow, rule of thumb, whenever I drive a vehicle, and sometimes when I drive other people's vehicles, they get a little upset because I do something that it's going to be the very last one that I talk about, but let me get to the other two first. Now, another one that I tend to do whenever I'm driving my vehicle or a vehicle is whenever I'm coming to a stop, like a complete stop, I try to make the full stop before I get on the gas and start moving again, because I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're coming to a stop and whenever the vehicle is downshifting itself, you might start going when the vehicle is in mid shift down to, let's say, third to second or second to first. Now when you start doing that, when you start gassing it, the vehicle's computer and the transmission is already telling itself, okay, we're shifting down because we're slowing down. So since it's shifting down, it's already halfway in that motion. Now let's say you're going down the stairs, you're on the second to last stair, you're about to take that last step, and somebody grabs you by your collar and starts pulling you back up the staircase. Not very pleasant now, is it? That's how I see it when you're in your vehicle and you start stopping and then all of a sudden you're back on the gas. So always try to have the vehicle finish that downshift, get into the whatever gear it's trying to get into before putting a load onto the transmission, because usually when that happens, you're going to feel very hard. Basically how I describe it, you're gonna the vehicle's gonna jerk you back and forth because it doesn't know what you're letting it do. It doesn't recognize what you're having it do. Now the next thing, kind of similar to that, it bugs me when people do this, and if it bugs you, let me know down below, because I'll be in a vehicle with someone, a passenger seat, riding along. They'll be doing this. They'll go into reverse. Okay, parking brakes on. I'll get into that. They're in reverse. I'm not moving for this exercise. All of a sudden, they're still reversing. The vehicle will still be rolling. All of a sudden, they go, boom, into drive. And then they floor it. It bugs me. It bugs me. Because most people don't realize when you do that, again, you're not letting the transmission do what it's built to do, what it's meant to do. You're just forcing it into gear. It goes back to my line of, imagine yourself going down the stairs or going to go do something, all of a sudden somebody just yanks you back to go do something else, or pulls you away, even though you're about to do that one thing, but they're asking you to do something else, but they're forcing you to do it. If you don't like that, your vehicle doesn't like it either, so don't make your vehicle do that, and your transmission is going to last a little bit longer. Now, another thing, most people don't do this, and most people don't use this that often. They don't think much of it unless you drive a manual vehicle, which I have a manual vehicle. It's my BMW. I don't know if you guys know, but most automatic vehicles, people think, oh, it's in park, it's not going to roll, it'll be fine. Not necessarily the case. As you guys just saw, I had my e-brake on because I'm on a slight incline. Because I'm on an incline, before I put the truck in park, before I release the brake, I always put my e-brake on. Let me go through it. So, I'm in drive, parking brake's off. I roll forward, I start going forward, la-di-dee-dee-da, do-do-do-do, and now I just come to a complete stop. Foot is on the brake. You just heard me put the truck in park. It's in park. Now my foot's still on the brake. See this foot over here? This one dancing around? That's my parking brake or e-brake. I push that down. My foot's still on the brake. And I release the brake and the truck doesn't move. Now what makes me cringe is when I'm in a vehicle with somebody, they put it in park or they come to a complete stop, they put it in park. Always remember to come to a complete stop before putting it in park, because that will also help your transmission. But anyways, back to this point. Put it in park and then they just release the regular brake and the vehicle rocks back or rocks forward and does it for a little bit. And then it comes to a stop and then they get out of the vehicle and walk away. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the passenger seat apologizing to transmission because you're putting a load on the transmission that it doesn't need. Now, some people are like, well, that's going to wear out my e-brake quicker or my parking brake quicker. Okay, fine. Your brakes cost maybe $200 back there. That's $200 of brakes that I can replace once a year or twice a year or whenever I have to do it. Now, it's either that or let's say a $5,000 transmission. You make that choice. I've made mine. I always use my parking brake, even when it's a slight incline. But anyways, guys, those are some tips and tricks that I follow to help save my transmission's life and help it last as long as it possibly can. Now, I am coming up to 60,000 miles, so I am going to be doing a transmission flush and filter change, so stay tuned for that. I will be making a video on it. And probably after that, I'll be flushing my differentials and changing the fluids in those, as well as the transfer case, because if you have a transfer case, change the fluids. Fluids are cheap. They make everything last longer when you change them because it keeps everything nicely lubricated and keeps fresh fluid in there. It's kind of like water. You always put fresh water in your system. You never reuse the water you let out, if you know what I mean, because that would be disgusting. And it's same thing for your vehicle. Never put the same fluid back in your vehicle. Always put new fluid. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you didn't, go ahead and hit that dislike button. And if there's some tips or tricks or things that you do to preserve your transmission's life, let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to see your guys' opinions and thoughts on what you do to save your transmissions and make them last as long as possible. And if you have a transmission with high mileage, let me know that down below, because I want to see how many miles you guys have on your transmissions, especially if you have a 2011 to 2014 EcoBoost F-150 or whatever. Even if you have the 5.0, we all have the same transmission. Let me know how many miles you guys got on it without a rebuild or without a remanufactured one put in, like the original transmission. I want to see that. But anyways, guys, as always, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you later. Bye.